Hi there, in this video we're going over what's new and what has changed in the NXLog Platform version 1.5. Whether you are upgrading or just curious, we'll cover the changes that might affect your setup and what you need to know before moving forward. As always, the full list of updates and technical details is available in our official release notes. First things first, NXLog Platform 1.5 introduced a major backend upgrade. The log storage engine now runs on ClickHouse, an open-source, high-performance database designed for fast analytics on large volumes of data. That means now we have a better performance and scalability, especially if you're handling large data volumes. However, and this is important, upgrading wipe your existing logs from log search, audit logs, and application logs. So before you proceed with the upgrade, please make sure you back up everything that you are storing on NXLog. Moving forward with the changes, the NXLog agent now includes support for Windows Server 2025, which is a very important step to ensure seamless operation in the latest server environments. Another update in the NXLog platform is the expanded SMTP settings. These now support multiple encryption options, including known Start TLS and SSL TLS. Additionally, the SMTP relay can now be configured without authentication, offering greater flexibility in adapting email configurations to your environment. Another key improvement is support for federated user access with popular identity providers such as Microsoft Entra ID, GitLab, and Google. This makes authentication faster, easier to manage, and more convenient for the end users. Now let's move on to the Agents tab. There is a new widget on this page that makes it easier to identify newly added agents at a glance. To help keep agents up to date, the platform also highlights which NXLog agent instance require updates after the configuration change. For example, if I change the port using an output model and save the configuration, the platform will show an exclamation mark next to the affected agents. Click on it, brings up an option to update all agents assigned to the template. When you click this button, the platform pushes the updated configuration to those agents, applying the change almost immediately. Now we'll take a look at several user interface improvements designed to enhance the overall user experience. Let's start with updates to audit and application log retention settings. These have been relocated to the settings page within the organization section. Now from a single page you can manage retention policies for both audit logs, which track critical actions performed by platform administrators, and application logs, which monitor operational information related to the platform software. Another UI change is the updated location for licensee usage information. It used to be under the Agents page, but it is now available on the My Organization page for easier access and visibility. We have also updated the terminology across the platform interface to clarify the difference between configuration and template. A template is a pre-built configuration ready to use that comes with the platform, while a configuration is something custom that you can create or add to your setup. And finally, when managing configurations with multiple extension modules, you can now edit them simultaneously. For instance, in this configuration, I'm using both JSON and syslog extensions. By navigating to the extension section, I can now edit both at the same time, making the process much more efficient. We will now wrap up this release video by covering the new features introduced in Agent version 6.6, which further extend its capabilities. Let's start with some enhancements that were applied to the OpenTelemetry framework input model. In this release, besides from collecting OpenTelemetry logs, NXLog Agent can also collect metrics in various formats using the OpenTelemetry standard. To demonstrate this, I've built a simple Node.js API. As we can see in the code here, it only includes one single route, and within the route I'm creating some random errors and also creating some different response times, trying to simulate a real-world traffic and to produce some test data. We have also instrumented this API using the OpenTelemetry SDK for Node.js, and then we configure the SDK to send data to our NXLog agent over the HTTP protocol. In terms of NXLog configuration, the setup is pretty straightforward. I just need to include the OpenTelemetry input model. Then I need to specify some required attributes like the listener, including the IP address and the port. We optionally can configure which protocol you want to receive messages, either HTTP or gRPC. And from there we can define some parsing and some additional processing. And finally we can send the events to the destination. For this example, I'm sending events to the NXLog platform. And after sending the requests, we can go back to the platform and we can see that the data is arriving as expected. We can see all the metrics, including the API request counters, the error counters, and also the histogram metrics related to the response times. Now let's take a look at some improvements made to WinPerf input model, which is used to collect Windows performance counters. To demonstrate this, we will start with a typical configuration for WinPerf. Previously, when defining a counter, you had to include the exact name using the counter attribute, but now we have a new attribute, the counter individual, that allow us to use wildcard to match one or more characters, or even using a question mark to match a single character. This gives you much more flexibility. For example, you can now specify something like this, and NXLog will retrieve counters for all the network interface. Or we can use something like this, and in this case the agent will collect processor time counters for all processes starting with the win, followed by 4 characters. You can also exclude specific counters using the exclude counter attribute. These support both exact names and wildcards as well, letting you fine-tune what gets collected. And finally, we can set this new attribute static to false, and NXLog will now retrieve counters for processes that weren't running when the agent started, as long as they matched either the counter or counter individual's attributes. Once you complete the setup, you'll be able to confirm that the specified counters are being collected, as we can see the events collected here. That's it for today. If you'd like to dive deeper, you'll find all the relevant links below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next update.